We are Jared and Stephanie and our brother Jordan. With our 3 kids, we moved to South Los Angeles in the fall of 2020 in the middle of the pandemic to start a community of faith that loves the city. This week as a family, we're celebrating Juneteenth, a celebration of American freedom.
And the wheels in my head are turning like crazy right now. Thinking about this idea of a physical business that could give job training, teach people how to work, bring income into the neighborhood, income for the organization, for the church. Man, what could we do? What would be necessary? What would provide a great service to the community, but also be a huge generation source for connection, resource, and bring money into the community? And my mind is just spinning right now thinking about opportunities. It'd be crazy. It'd be really cool.
City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down.
Well, we're setting up our office. Work in progress, almost there. Still a little bit of a mess, but we're getting closer. Okay, so a really quick Juneteenth timeline. So the Civil War has been raging for almost 2 years when Abraham Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation in January of 1863. About a year later in 1864, the Senate then passes the 13th Amendment and the House passes it in January of 1865, putting it into law. A couple months later, Lee surrenders to Grant and the Civil War is over. So then in June 19th of 1865, the last slaves were notified of their lawful freedom in Galveston, Texas.
On our way to Juneteenth 2021, we're heading to the village. Got the kids hanging out. We're gonna meet some people, get to volunteer, get to celebrate for the day. It's gonna be fun. The neighborhood is popping. All these people out on the street. There's a lot going on right now. It's cool.
So in case you're still unsure of the significance of Juneteenth, it was the day that 2,000 Union soldiers showed up to Galveston, Texas to enforce the 13th Amendment. We commemorate and we celebrate June 19th, 1865 for the final group of 250,000 slaves that were notified of their freedom that day. But imagine what these newly freed slaves faced: total uncertainty and discrimination. And in the face of this oppression, African Americans had the first celebration of what they then called Emancipation Day or Jubilee Day a year later with singing of spirituals, good food, games, and recitings of the Emancipation Proclamation. In the words of a friend of ours, this day is a great opportunity to learn our history, to recognize both our progress and existing injustices, and to understand stories different than our own. As I reflect on this week, I get hyped thinking about
the celebration, thinking about the faces, thinking about greeting people on the street. Happy Juneteenth. I'm genuinely grateful to be a part of this community. But in my reflections, I've realized some things. One of the things I've realized is that freedom is still elusive for a lot of us. A lot of us can't really define what true freedom is, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what we're really hoping for. You can hear it in discourse in the media. You can hear it in discourse even in our communities, of faith and not of faith. And when you read John in chapter 8, Jesus says, who the Son sets free is truly free. I begin to wonder if we as a people can really define, capture, and are fully living in that freedom. Because as much as there was amazing things happening this weekend and people were joyous and celebratory, there was this underlying sense that freedom is not here yet for many different reasons. But one of the reasons is I don't know what we're fully able to articulate what freedom looks like. So I am hopeful because I think a lot of people are desiring, hungering, thirsting for that real freedom in their hearts, real freedom in their communities, to be truly free as Jesus talks about. Not be bound by race, ethnicity, color, but even begin to imagine what a community would look like where we all work together, where we all are under the lordship of Jesus Christ. I can begin to imagine that here, and I hope you can begin to imagine that in your community. Juneteenth is not just a reminder of what was before, it should be a catalyst for freedom in the future.